So a very short video on Milgram's agency theory now. So this was the theory Milgram came up with once he realised that Germans weren't different. Once you realise that, you have to explain why do people obey at this level then? How did the Holocaust happen? And what he came up with was agency theory. So Milgram suggested that we are all agents of authority at some time or another. And this is because we've learned to be that way. We have been socialized, taught by our parents from an early age to follow the instructions of authority, to follow orders. So you learn to obey your parents and teachers at a young age. And from there on, it kind of becomes ingrained in us. So we obey authority figures as we go on. So this is because it helps us run smoothly. If you don't follow any orders and you do whatever you want, then that just leads to chaos and anarchy. Nobody would follow the rules of law, nobody would pay taxes, people would drive down the roads whichever way they want. So it was said that we have socialized and we've learned to follow orders and follow rules, follow authority figures because we needed it to function properly. So because of this, we have two states. This is the basic crux of Milgram's idea. Three key things: the autonomous state, the agentic state, and moral strain. So we've got the autonomous state. This is where you are free thinking and you're able to make your own decisions. You are able to do what you want on your own behalf. You make decisions for yourself and act accordingly. We also have the agentic state. So when there is an authority figure present and they're giving us orders, we will shift into the agentic state. In the agentic state, we are serving the wider groups and the wider group's wishes and desires, and following the orders of an agent. Of an authority figure. You become that agent. Amazingly, whenever students describe this, they sometimes miss out the word obey, following orders, things like that. So the key bits are you follow orders, you obey an authority figure. So as you can see in these two little video clips here, both of these are showing obedience to an authority figure. So your conscience is no longer in control. You give up what you want, what you believe, your moral decisions and responsibility, and you follow the orders of somebody else who is an authority figure. So we move from the autonomous state to the agentic state in what we call the agentic shift. So we've got a person here who's following their own will, their own desire, doing what they think, acting as their conscience indicates in the autonomous state. And then because they are given an order by an authority figure, they move into the agentic state. Yeah? They're not autonomous and agentic people, they are in the autonomous state and the agentic state. And people move between one and the other. So again, we can see these dogs here, he's in the autonomous state, and then the authority figure puts him into an agentic state and tells him to sit down. So Milgram suggested there were two things needed for us to shift from this autonomous state to the agentic state. The first one, the person giving the orders has to be perceived as an authority figure. Yeah? You have to think that they have some authority over you. And secondly, they have to kind of take responsibility for your actions. If your boss at work told you to do something that you thought was wrong, and then when you did it, they kind of went, "Oh, well, that's your problem. You've done that." Then you wouldn't follow their orders. The authority takes responsibility to some degree for the things that you have done. That's what gets you into that agentic state. And this is what we've always used the argument for. German soldiers used it during the Nuremberg rallies and things. I was only following orders. It's not my fault. I can't be blamed for it. So that's the concept of moral strain. When you become uncomfortable with your behaviour because you feel that it's wrong and it goes against your values. Moral strain is basically feeling guilty for the things that you've been told to do. There's a big argument goes on about whether being in the agentic state causes moral strain or whether it prevents moral strain. Because when you are in that agentic state, somebody else is taking responsibility. You don't rely on your conscience anymore. Yeah, so it may remove that kind of guilt of going against your conscience because somebody else is telling you to do it. But the first kind of early parts of following that kind of procedure, following that line of thought and obeying the orders does cause some guilt. Right, that's agency theory in general.